And I would also like to welcome back our speakers from this last session. Oh, we even get some cheers. That's perfect. So, hello, nice to having you back. Yeah, if you would like to take
in the back.
don't hesitate to do so. Oh, even more. I don't need one.
Was passiert jetzt hier?
Thank you.
Have a seat.
I guess we're fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're coming to the interactive part of this session. We've learned a lot about the perfect use cases concerning spare parts. We've learned a lot about the digital supply chain and the IT behind such processes. And even you were able to follow a Bugatti worth 3 million euro. And when we are all grown up, we will drive this ourselves, I'm very sure. So please welcome back again Felix Spieß, Tina Schlingmann, Markus Obermeier, Harry Bikas, Juan Carlos Lopez Rodriguez. We would like to start with a discussion. And since it's meant to be interactive, you have to work now. So you've joined us for quite a while. And maybe you had some questions which came up into your mind. And you would like to ask such questions. So start already thinking about your questions. The microphones are already coming. And please let me open with the first question to our colleagues from the railway industry. We've heard a lot about printing spare parts. Do you think that every railway company, every automotive company will have a big printer park in the future? Felix, would you like to start?
Not necessarily. I'm pretty sure that where the application allows it and where there are enough, where there is enough request for it, there will be own printer parks. But we see it today. We have quite good cooperations, and we increase those. So for each application, we have somebody who helps us there. And I don't see the necessity to have an own printer park there. We see that other companies use their printers by 30% at the moment. And that's where we hop in and use the other 70, as a part of the other 70.
Okay, thank you. So Juan, are you already fearing the railway companies ordering or buying printers in the future?
I think so. In fact, we are using, since 6 months ago, one very big size printer able to print parts from 2.5 meter by 1.5 meter by 1 meter. And we are producing a spare part, but also we are able to produce serious pieces for the serious project. We have passed processes of homologation and certification. And also the material that we have is validated, is fulfill the regulation of fire and flame. And I think, why not? We have many projects where the amount of trains is not so enough to pay the mold. In this way, in this project, big part production by additive manufacturing are totally profitable.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
So, may I ask in the audience, are there any companies who already own printers or have printed parts? Would you please raise your hands? Oh, this is great. So there's huge potential of companies who could start with additive manufacturing. Maybe we should take a closer look at such companies who are just about to enter this sector. And maybe, Tina, what recommendations do you have for companies which are just about to start?
For printing companies, you mean? Service providers, or which companies?
No, companies which try to start in additive producing industrial use cases, industrial parts in general. So not the printing service bureaus, more the users.
Or maybe I got the question wrong, which you were talking about not service providers, but companies who have already started printing, or?
The companies, the users who would like to start printing parts instead of milling, drilling, or whatever doing.
Okay, so yeah, then I can talk from my about my past, since I was at a company which was called, or which is called, still called Otto Fuchs. It's it's a supplier for automotive and aerospace, and it's a forging company. And this is actually a good example. So companies which are like, for example, Otto Fuchs forging companies, they also want to get into this business. And these companies start like ideas of hybrid manufacturing, like you have a forging part and then you maybe print something on the forging part. This could be a really great business case. Or they look through their business cases whether it makes sense to submit the part by 3D printing. But I would not say that 3D print submit this business. It's just an add-on.
Thank you so much. So now we also have a microphone here. Who would like to ask the first question?
Stephanie, I would like to comment as well on this question. Is when it comes to, so, I mean, I'm talking to small and medium-sized enterprises every once in a while, and what sometimes the feedback is from those companies who try to get into additive manufacturing but do not really have a clue how to start, that they are always afraid of investing too much money into the wrong technology, because there are so many technologies out there, and they really just have to figure out which one is the right for them, for their application. So it might be very good to start buying just maybe a simpler machine and start testing the technology, but it might be also an option to rather focus on, let's say, finding the right parts, optimizing them, focusing on design for additive manufacturing, and focus on how they are manufactured maybe later on, or just use the third-party suppliers here, which can then really offer a large scale of production capacity. So I think there are different ways to approach this topic, and yeah.
So the good news is you don't have to invest from the first moment huge amounts of money.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Do you feel encouraged now? Would you like to ask any questions?
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I'm Kamoto from Japan, and I have two questions. One is for Stephanie and one is for Tina, actually. For Stephanie, so if I understood correctly, now that the mobility goes additive is not only targeting for the railway industry, but open for the other industry like automotive as well. So I would like to know, like, what's the final destination or the goal of the project? You know, what you're seeing in the AM industry's future, and that's my question to you. And one is for Tina, is that I saw in your presentation that saying that you have now internal competition for looking for the actual application good for the AM. And I would like to ask what's the biggest challenge for you to find the right application especially for metal. Like I understand, like plastic application, there'll be more cases already, but for metal, I understand it's still limited. So what is the biggest challenge for you to find a good application for the AM? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. Tina, maybe would you like to start? What are the best applications for metal at the moment?
Yeah, I can start. So first, to answer this question, what is the big challenge? I would start a bit more general. So within Deutsche Bahn, we always has this big challenge of high, requirements. So for example, this is not a problem with metal, but with plastics, it's a good example that we have big requirements for flame retardancy, for example. So this is now an example of plastics, but with metals, so one point is maybe the size. With smaller parts, it's not such a big problem. There, I think it's a question of costs. But with bigger parts, then we have a big problem with the technology. So this is the reason why we start now with this wire arc additive manufacturing and focusing on these bigger parts to print them.
So did this answer the metal question? Yeah? So you also asked for what is the goal of Mobility Goes Additive. We try to tear down the hurdles. So for industrial additive manufacturing, we still have to face a lot of challenges, which come from legal, which come from how to help companies to introduce additive manufacturing in an existing company. And this is not easy. It's a big task of change management. I always say additive manufacturing has more to do with change management than with the technological aspects. The engineers might clap me now, but from my perspective, it's like that. So within Mobility Goes Additive, we would like to address such challenges and to help each other to come over. And furthermore, our experience is that if you talk about certain use cases, if you get into an exchange, you get a lot of inspirations concerning new technologies, new use cases, new materials. And if you want to, for instance, develop materials together, you can also share costs. And so this is what it makes it much easier. And this is what it's all about. And the members within the network have defined a certain set of subjects, and this might change in the future, and it will change. And this is exactly what we are aiming for, to help each other. Do you have any more questions, maybe? Who would like to, now that you have the chance to ask the experts whatever you always wanted to address?
Let me add a point of in regards to the network. A lot of the ideas that we got in the network, even though it's based on a railway idea, came from total different industries. So as a member, it is our interest that even more companies from foreign industries join, because there's not a competition between the companies where we work together now, mainly. Between some companies, of course, on a railway view, we have a little bit of a competition, but not in the additive manufacturing side. And with companies from totally different branches, such as here, Pankel was speaking today, they help us a lot with additive manufacturing. And that's why it's our interest that they join us. They can give us probably a little bit of insight on how they are developing their challenges, and we can later on do that to others.
Yeah, it's always better to ask the members. So thank you so much, Felix. We also talk quite a lot about new subjects, new tendencies, and so on. What role does also funding play within this? So you're the experienced one who got some funding from the EU, as far as I understood.
Yeah.
Would you have also started without any funding, or how did it help you to get started?
Well, we are a research institute, and therefore our funding comes from the European Union and is related to additive manufacturing in general. So what we wanted to do, and what I think we are doing also with the 4D hybrid project, but also with other projects that are being involved, is find ways to advance additive manufacturing beyond what is currently in industrial practice. So for instance, the applications that you saw on 4D hybrid mostly focus on repair, and mostly focus on repair on site in a flexible way. This is something that we don't see happening, at least in a wide scale, with additive manufacturing in industry at this point of time. And what we wanted to do there is actually use additive manufacturing to the company's benefit. And what I mean by that, if you looked at the cases that were presented before, there are some cases that by using traditional manufacturing techniques and traditional ways to fix something, it would take weeks instead of days if we use additive manufacturing. And this, for an operation that has to work 24/7, is a significant cost saving and is a significant competitive advantage for the European manufacturing industry in general. So what we're trying to do is actually use that money that comes from the European Commission, do some applied research on such topics, and actually return that back to the community by making European manufacturing more competitive at the end.
Thank you. So this is also an interesting factor, becoming faster, also by using EU funding. Usually we accuse the EU being too slow, but now it helps us to get much faster. It's a great point. We always talk about also interesting new technologies. 3D printing is one of that, but there are many more, like artificial intelligence, predictive maintenance, big data, all those buzzwords. And what would you say, Markus, how do you combine such new buzzwords and the technologies behind to get the most out of it?
Okay, yeah. I think it's not that much important what buzzwords are standing in front of the technology. It's really the technology that matters, and which then provides a certain benefit or a value add. So I think you can combine many different things. You can define IoT applications with additive manufacturing. You can use artificial intelligence. You can try to increase product quality by that. You can try to customize and automate the production in a way that has not been there yet. But I think we just are at the stage where we have a very small glimpse of what is actually possible in the future, what's coming up. If you're talking about things like the Industrial Revolution, I think it just opens up, and there is many more things to come in the next years, and I think we can be really excited what we will talk about in the conference in 5 years from now.
I'm really looking forward to that, to discuss it again. And maybe a last question also to Juan. We've seen pictures of your site, your workshop site.
Yes.
What do you think it will look like in, let's say, 10 years?
Oof. I don't know. No, in fact, maybe in 10 years the facilities looks the same, but maybe we are started the intention that we have to implant in our factories the distributed production, to have a different printer in different sites, and from our facilities manage all the necessities, all the information in the cloud, and with that avoid all the spare parts and have production on request. Maybe we are able to reach that situation.
So you'll invite us in 5 years or 10 years and we'll come and take a look.
Yes, for sure. I invite you all together.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any last questions?
Hello, Dr. Smith from Belgium. You ask for the future. Today, we see that in 3D printing, we still are very simple. You have one product, perhaps two colors. But if I am not mistaken, in Germany, there is a research institute that has produced an electric motor with various products, with metal and plastics and ceramics, all in one print. Is that the future?
What would you think? Is it the future? Who would like to answer?
Would be nice.
We hope it will be from a railway perspective.
I don't know.
You were talking about hybrid production.
It is something that we see as a trend in general, but when we refer to hybrid production at this point of time, at least, is different manufacturing technologies, because although we think additive manufacturing can revolutionize the way we produce, we don't think that it can cover every need. So we need to use the good bits of additive manufacturing and combine it with other technologies in order to fit in each and every case. Being able to produce different materials and being able to combine them in a way to end up with functional products, all with additive manufacturing, is something that is extremely challenging, extremely promising as well. But in my personal point of view, at least, I don't see it happening, at least in a very large scale, in the immediate future. I think that other technologies, existing technologies, also have a lot to offer in that field, and I personally believe that being able to combine and be able to not have, a global answer for everything, but be able to pick the right bits of each one and combine them in a meaningful way based on the specific case you have is the way forward. And data utilization and also artificial intelligence will play a major role towards that in the very near future.
Okay, so good view into the future. Thank you so much for being with us. Time is up already. I guess you will be around if there should be some more questions from the audience. Let me thank you a lot, and please give our experts a warm hand of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
And furthermore, from Mobility Goes Additive, I would like to thank the organizers of USTRY, just to name some of them: Michael Serrano, Giorgio Magistrelli, and Antoni Kamikazals, and the whole team. It was great being here, and thank you so much, and good luck for the next 2 days.
Thank you.